Hello, I hope you're all doing immaculate, or at least okay. Um, Today I wanted to do an art challenge where I drew a bunch of OCs in Ponytown, which is a really cute game that I'm sure I'll talk in more depth about, as I do show the recording of me, like, messing around in there. The goal is to draw 6 different ponies from the game, or at least characters made in Ponytown. I'm gonna confess, I did not draw mostly ponies, I mostly drew other creatures. But my goal is to draw people's OCs, not fan characters, not canon characters from MLP, but like OCs that people have put into Ponytown. So yeah. And so we jump right in. This has been so long since I've logged into this game. Like, seeing the loading screen and walking around and seeing all the pixel art is so nostalgic. I used to play this game all the time in high school and to just find people to draw. And I was oddly nervous to talk to anyone and oddly nervous to like ask people if I could draw them. As soon as I saw this pup character, I'm like, easy dog, I want to draw them, let me draw you. And I kind of panicked. I was like, hey pup, can I draw you for a YouTube video? Without any small talk, I just immediately launched into the question. To which the answer was a resounding, no thank you, which is completely fair, super valid. I told them to have a fantastic time, and then hung around a bit for some small talk, which I think is what this game's strong suit really is. It's just a chat room game where you get to customize your character and talk to people. So I just sat down and talked to a bunch of other canine dressed people and started to sort of get my sea legs working again because it's been so long. So after I chatted for a bit, I decided to say goodbye and to go try to find some other things to do to just get used to the gameplay again before trying to talk to anyone else. So I started wandering through the marketplace, and like any sane, normal person would, I picked up a knife and thought it'd be really fun to go ahead and just swing it the fuck around. Just go stabby stabby. Then I went through a box full of tools, and just checked out what was available. And then I had this really, really cute interaction on the way out. A DJ Pond 3 cosplay pony person walked up to me and like offered me a gift. And it was so cute. It was such a sweet gesture. And I loved it. After that incredibly adorable interaction, I took myself around a little bit more, just wandered around a little bit until I found this nice little log to sit on, at which point I just kind of sat there for a bit, until I took my happy ass inside the cafe and actually started looking for people again. It was honestly really difficult to decide who I wanted to draw because there were so many cute ponies, but like I said, I was also kind of nervous about deciding who to approach, and I wanted to make sure to start conversation with someone who would like respond, because a lot of people sit on Ponytown and like AFK draw or watch YouTube. So I was looking for someone with the question mark emoticon above their head, which showed that they were looking for chats, and that way it would be someone who would be like ideally willing to talk to me a little bit, which then could lead to me being able to draw them. So I was looking over their like a bunch of different names and seeing, who was cool, who I liked. And I really liked Axel chewing on the knife, especially after my own running around with like a knife. I was like, that would be cool to draw with the little shark hat. Then I noticed Sienna with the / I don't bite with a smiley face. I'm like, that's welcoming. That might be a good place to chat. I checked again to make sure the question mark meant that they were looking to chat. And I'm like, okay, if anyone is someone to start with, it might be Sienna. Hello Sienna, how are you doing today? I'm doing good. How about you? I'm doing pretty well, hopping onto Ponytown for the first time in a while. Excuse my spelling, I'm painfully dyslexic. I just started like a week ago. Oh, well in that case, welcome. How have you been liking it so far? Been pretty good so far. And then this red pony came up and offered to take our orders. I know that a lot of people come to Ponytown to roleplay, so I just played along, and I don't know, it was really cute. Do you have an egg and cheese and bacon sandwich? Yes, we do. Whiskey for me. Okay. Then I'd love a sandwich and a milkshake. Okay, is that all? Just whiskey for me. For me? Yep. Okay. And from this point on, the small talk just kind of continued. Honestly, that's one of the things that I really like about this game. Not exactly the small talk, but just it feels so interactive in the way that like things just kind of happen. Kind of like real life. It feels very back and forth, very interactive. People just talk to each other. I know that I was talking about how I was nervous going into this, but like generally like that's not as much of an issue online than it is in person. And this game gives a really good way to express like what maybe you wished you could look like, or dress up as a fandom character, or whatever else, and just talk to people. And the way that the servers work allow you to show up in the same places consistently and start recognizing each other and over again. When I played a bit in high school, I was in the PG server a lot, like a fair amount. And I was there enough where I started to notice the regulars, and we would meet up around the same place pretty frequently, and they'd recognize my pony, and we would just talk, and it was really nice. It was kind of an odd sense of community with people that I never knew their real names and I'll never meet again, which I think is very common as a kid on the internet, like playing with friends on Animal Jam or Club Penguin or talking to people on Amino. These are people that like you would get to know maybe even super well, and then life happened and one day you would log off and never log back on, or they would log off and never log back on. That was it. You don't know what happened to that person. They're just out of your life now. And it's a really bittersweet feeling, and one that makes me very nostalgic. Like, it's beautiful in a weird way. I still get sad thinking about my old internet friends that I'll never know what happened to them. But at the same time, I just look back on that with such nostalgia, and I just hope they're all doing well. And I feel like Ponytown really brings back that feeling. For me, at least. Maybe that's really sappy. It's probably really sappy. Anyway, I finally get around to actually asking if they want to get drawn for the YouTube video, and Sienna seems pretty down about it. And so is our waiter. And this other person who was eavesdropping, and oh, that's actually really cool. Wasn't expecting that. I have a really good idea for this setup. Initially I was going to draw each character individually, but I have a really good scene idea with how all this played out. So I'm going to save this speed paint for last. Pretty soon after this, stop recording, and then I start recording again when I'm ready to go find the next person. And now I start looking. I really don't know what exactly I'm looking for initially. I just kind of wander around for a little bit, pass by our waiter on the way out, and then I see this little green guy, which kind of catches my eye. Like, it's a little silly, but they look like a cute little guy, and they have changeling wings, and changelings are like my favorite My Little Pony species. So I compliment their character and say that they look cool, and they show off all these really cool outfits that they've made for their OC before dropping the question, hey, would you like me to draw your pony? Maybe, maybe not. To which he's very ecstatic about, which I love that response when people get hyped to have their characters drawn. It's such a, rush. And they want me to draw him in their little space cadet outfit, and I can definitely do that. Onto our first speed paint, hell yeah! I really like this one. I knocked this speed paint out in 20 minutes. I was so locked in. I really was inspired by how, cute this character was. I don't really know why this, scratched a part of my brain so good, but I'm like, little dude in space. I can draw a little dude in space, and that's what this was. A little dude in space. At some point, when I start going to coloring, I do the stupid sun in the corner of the drawing, which is peak elementary school. Oh, I'm just gonna put a sun in the corner. I thought better of it, but initially I'm like, I'll just chuck a sun in the corner. I wasn't thinking. That was stupid. Don't judge me. But I really liked this pose. This was such a cute pose. I was afraid that it would look almost too contorted, but I kind of like how the back leg is sort of bending over one of the front legs, and a very dynamic sort of turning around, oh hey buddy, didn't know you were also in space kind of expression. I don't know. Maybe that's a silly way of describing it, but I think it's cute. ignore the embarrassing sun in the corner. It goes away. I think better of it. I do decide to have the light come from that corner when I go into shading. We don't have to worry about that. I had a really hard time trying to figure out what his little cutie mark thing was on his butt, like his little butt marking. Like, I assumed that it was something from his suit, and I tried a couple different things, but I really struggled and eventually decided that it looked too cluttered and gave up. I think the end result is really cute, though. Like, I think the end result really does get the vibe that I think this little guy has. I also kind of struggled with the face markings, because they're all such similar shades of green that it was hard to sort of distinguish them. But yeah, no, this is what I did. I'm pretty happy with it. I don't got any complaints. And so I log back on and book it straight to the caves. It used to be my favorite place to hang out. It's just like den with water and crystals, and it's very cool and has a nice ambiance to it. At this point, I ran into this guy. Honestly, this was my favorite conversation that I had in Ponytown. A lot of the other conversations really just felt like small talk, like, oh, how long have you been playing the game? Oh, that's cool, like back and forth. It was nice, and I enjoyed it. But this was very much like, how are you doing? And like genuine, like, what brings you to Ponytown? And asking about like the furry fandom and how we got into it, and talking about our personas and characters, and he just seemed, we had a very fun conversation before I asked to draw him, and he seemed down to be drawn. So we end up going to a different place so I can take a better quality screenshot of him, because I tried to do it in the cave, which isn't the best spot, and he suggested we move, so then we went somewhere else to go take a screenshot. After I took a screenshot, I stopped recording, and I had a long, nice chat with him and a couple other people. It was really nice. For this speed paint, I really wanted to highlight that like friendly nature, as well as like really emphasize the cave we met up in, because I think that's a really fun environment, and I really wanted to lean into it. So I wanted to have him, since he's like half otter, half dragon, which is like a really cool like persona, I wanted to like toss him in the water and have him be going for a dip while looking up at another player and chatting. Because when we were chatting, other players would be like, oh, hey, how have you been? And they just recognize each other. Like, he seemed to be someone who would yap to a lot of people around Ponytown and was very recognizable. So I felt like this was like a cute sort of like, he gives off extrovert energy is what I'm trying to say. So I'm trying to go for like cute extrovert going for a swim and see someone coming up to the pond and be like, hi, how are you? What's up? Maybe the person approaching the pond didn't even want to talk. Maybe they were just coming to drink water because watering hole or whatever. But now they're stuck in a conversation that hopefully will be enjoyable for everyone involved. I felt a little bit bad about submerging half the character design in water because he has that really cool like gay flag sleeve on his paw. I tried to sort of fix it by having those like flag colors in the in the shading and lighting, but obviously not by a lot, just like a hint of it. I also put my persona as the character standing above, not because I wanted to like, initially I didn't want to, but I couldn't think of a better color. I'm like, fuck it, my persona reference sheet is right there, I'm just gonna run with it, let me just get this done. It feels like I'm kind of being a little self-obsessed by making that decision though, I don't know. I did really like how this came out overall. I think I started drawing his piece a couple times and then gave up a few times just because I went into like a bit of art block. But like, I think this was like the best one I did. This is me just cleaning up the lighting and wrapping up everything. And I think it turned out super well and super cute. And I'm very happy with it. Final time we're logging on to Ponytown, and then I get to draw this person and the last scene illustration that I'm very excited for. I really wanted to like rush to just find someone so that I could like wrap up and like draw those pieces. The first person I started talking to though was AFK, I think. I was like, hi, how are you? and got no response, waited for a second, and then took that as a sign. And then I just saw this one character who was lovingly named Dumbass. So I asked if I could draw them after complimenting their character, and they said sure. And so I did so. This speed paint is just complete shitpost energy. This character is kind of shitpost energy, and this illustration just embodies that. And I was so down for that. I just wanted something silly and stupid before I started drawing something actually pretty intense, because I knew that final scene that I'm drawing after this was gonna be a kind of a big thing, and it kind of was. It was definitely a bit of a task. So I just wanted to have fun and draw something kind of silly and kind of easy. I don't know how much I like it. I don't think it's ugly, but I'm not it's not my proudest work, but that's also not what this was supposed to be. It really was supposed to be that silly, goofy vibe that I was hoping to achieve. So, and I think I did get that through this. I do really like the pose, and I liked that little part where I put little details on the hoof, because usually I don't add those, but I think that was a really nice touch, and I might add that to drawing my ponies more often when I do draw them. I didn't really have all the ideas in the world for this character. I just wanted to do a cute little scene with just a very generic background, and I think it's cute. So yeah. And here we are, that last illustration I was so excited to get to. So what I was thinking for this illustration was originally a My Little Pony Infection AU. For those of you who don't know, there was an MLP Infection AU, I don't want to say, trend? Where basically people would just make zombie apocalypse in My Little Pony and explore that. So I was thinking, zombie goat walks into, bar and scares everyone, and that was, the initial idea. But then I was reviewing the footage, and the goat had his name as Sacrificed Cult Goat, or Cultist Sacrificial Goat, or something like that. And I remember that was the idea of it not being a zombie, but just a goat that failed to die during a sacrifice, dragging itself into a restaurant, being like, let me have a bad day in peace. Don't look at me, don't judge me. I just came to get a snack and a drink, and then I'll leave. And I found that image in my head so much funnier than zombie apocalypse. So that's what I'm leading with. I think I literally named the file "Can't a Bitch Have a Bad Day in Peace," and that energy amuses me deeply. I made it a point to make the other two characters notice the goat's presence first and look shocked and horrified, while my character is incredibly oblivious. Egregiously so. Doesn't even realize it's happening. This speed paint took multiple recording sessions to get done. I think it took me 3 sessions in total to do this, because college, so I'd have to go to bed, get ready for class in the morning, or I'd have to do something else, and those things kind of just piled up. Yeah, overall, longer recording than the other 3 in this compilation of little speed paints. So, enjoy. I mean, I think this one came out really well. I was really going for a full scene, and I think I succeeded at that. It really does feel like a little restaurant, and I think I did a good job at remembering to bring in the plants from the Ponytown map. I don't know, I did draw over some seats for the booth, and I have no regrets for that. I think that helped a lot. I do need to do more background studies though, just get better at drawing stuff like that off the cuff. Widen my visual library. And here we finally get to coloring. I think something that really overwhelmed me with this piece was the goat. I had a very, very, very hard time with making the goat feel bloody enough, and making their injuries look solid and not overblown, if that makes sense. Yeah, I wanted it to be overblown because bro was supposed to be dead, but I didn't want it to be just like, oh, a scratch over here and a cut over there and make it look haphazard. But I think that's what it was at the end. Like, it didn't feel like very purposeful where the cuts and marks were. But at the end of the day, I was trying to work off of someone else's thing and design, so I hope I just brought that design to life okay. When I got around to doing the blood, I got really nervous that it looked bad. It's been a really long time since I've drawn a lot of gore and blood. Like, I like to draw it as a treat, but I, like, haven't really seriously sat down and drawn, like, digital gore or blood since, like, high school or middle school. I think one person called my art, like, edgy and cringe, and then, like, I just stopped posting it. I wanna do more. I wanna get back into drawing gore, blood, and death and stuff. But I think that this scene with the shading hits. I think that the expressions turned out, like, as well as I could have hoped for. I wish that I made Biscuit, my persona, look a little more oblivious. I feel like the sandwich is a little flat, but I think at the end of the day it still turned out well. And I really like this piece. I think it's very cute. And that's the end of the challenge. I think it went really well. I'd like to make more videos like this. I think the art that I made for it turned out really cute. Thank you all so much for joining in and watching this video. Go ahead and hydrate before you dihydrate, and I will see you around next time. Bye!